I think it's because of the recording. It's better to do it with the mic. Okay. Is it okay so? Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you here. I have no idea about your last night. Mine was very short. So we're here to speak about the support team. In the English Wikipedia, it is called the Volunteer Response Team, a group of volunteers which are answering email questions and tickets and complaints and something like that. First of all, I want to know who are you, who I'm talking with, because I want to talk with you. I'm not here to talk to you. So who is an active OTRS agent? Woohoo! Hi! Who is here because he have no idea about the work these people are doing? Welcome! Okay, so I have an idea of where I can start, and we have 2 slots in this whole session of 1.5 hours. The first slot was meant as a presentation about what OTRS is and how it is working, and I'm not really sure if I really need to explain it, having all those OTRS agents here before me, in front of me. And the second thing was to try to get in some kind of interaction on an international level, doing some workshop things. I will just start with my presentation. Please feel free to raise your hand and ask questions if you have one, even when I'm still talking. Perhaps it would be nice to have some break at some time. We're talking about a group of volunteers, and so that's not a group of something, it's a group of persons. Each one is an individual, and I tried to get some user pages of them to show how diverse they are. They come from very different backgrounds. Some are photographers, some are editors, some are admins, some not. It is a huge and very, very livable group. So please get through it and take a look at these people and their user pages. Some of them you will know, some of them are here, and it's very nice to have them here. So it's right. And there are a lot of more very interesting people. This is Alison. She's not here, I think. Okay. Okay, then we can start talking about the support team. The OTRS as a system, as a tool for doing these requests was set up in 2004. It was set up with only a few queues, and it was made for Info.en as the largest Wikipedia with lots of incoming questions, and Info.de was the second one, and the German chapter tried to enforce something that makes communication more easy, because easier than in mailing lists. Doing requests on mailing lists is not of that benefit, because you never know if a question has really an answer or not. So many of those questions ended up without any answer. So we are trying to make this with the OTRS. The foundation and the Italian, French, and the Dutch people were following soon. So first it was mainly used as a chapters communication thing. So people who build up their chapters doing this press stuff and something like that try to do and manage their communication within the OTRS. The people who are working on OTRS today are mostly volunteers, like you. There is staff from the foundation, from chapters, and we have also some of the fellowship people and some other people from the board, for example, who is working with the OTRS. The ambassador group, for example, is a group who is doing their communication with the OTRS as well, right? Okay. So here's some stats. It's not that much. It's just to give you an impression about how huge this whole system has been grown. So we now have over 500 active agents, and that is the group I was telling you before. It is this group mixed of volunteers and staff people and board people and foundation. So we use more than 250 queues. Queues are kind of tool which we use to separate emails for topics. So there's a queue which is made for permissions, for example, and we have all those language-specific queues, and but we have lots of them. I think I'm not really sure if they are all used actively.
Casey has cleaned them up 2 weeks ago, so I think most of them are used, but not everyone very often.
Okay. So from the first years, we didn't have any numbers of incoming tickets. It is a database problem, it is technical stuff, so we just have an idea about the number of incoming tickets from January 2009 until now. And it's round about 600,000 tickets which came in this period. That's a lot of tickets. That's a lot of work to do. And I asked the foundation.
Did it count these tickets that went to spam or not?
That are all incoming tickets. Okay. So it's spam is included. I think. I didn't count them by myself.
If I'm correct, spam tickets are being physically deleted after a month, so only the last month of spam.
They are still stored in the database, but
only the last month, right?
Like the last month is shown to the user.
It differs.
There are about 19 gigabytes of spam, if I remember correctly, in the database.
It differs. It should be deleted after some time, but there was a period where it wasn't deleted for some time. So, okay, let's say it in this way, there is some spam within this number.
When I did a survey of the info queues in, I think, late 2009 or 2010, and it was about 50 to 60 a day real tickets there, which covered the duplication. So that's about right.
Okay, that's fine. So here are some average numbers of incoming tickets and specified to the InfoEN queue. That are tickets from this year, from June this year, and it is about incoming 100 tickets a day. That's a lot of tickets for a day. That's a lot of work to be done, and it's only InfoEN. So the other thing is all those permission queues. So here are some numbers from the permission queues for the commons. And there we have about 16 closed tickets a day. So I really ask how many tickets are really worked on and are finished. So we've gotten permission, and the permission ticket is plugged to the image and something like that. So there are 16 in the Commons permissions queues which are worked on each day. So having here in front of me a group of active OTRS agents, I have no need to tell you what you are doing every day. But I try to get a collection of things which are incoming for you as volunteers. So there are, of course, all those very vague incoming emails asking questions about the foundation or the Wikipedia or what is Commons and why can't I just copy and paste my pictures to the articles and something like this. We have many questions about licenses. It is just because all this copyright stuff isn't really, it's not that easy. We grew up with it. For us it is something very usual to think about licenses, and everyone who wants just to give his picture to an article, to illustrate an article, has never known about licenses, and most of them think they have to pay for a license. So of course we have some people who are just pointing us to a little mistake in a single article. That is, I think it's quite often that people do that. And I have no idea if they don't know that they can change it by themselves, or if they just think it's more easy to tell whoever, please do it, it's wrong. It's okay, but there are incoming emails for that. So, and one of the main things we are working with are articles of living persons. So we have really these biographical articles which really need our care, and we have those subjects of articles who have concerns about the contents. And we need a really gardening philosophy to help them and help the projects as well. And then, of course, there are all those companies who are trying to do their thing with our projects. And we have complaints in lots of ways. There are so many kinds of complaints, and each day there's something new. Of course, we also have this help request. Help me, I'm not able to do this or that. So the OTRS team, all those volunteers working on it, are, as well as they help in legal issues and in copyright issues and in making people preserve their rights on personality, they are just a kind of help desk for editors, for new editors, help desk for photographers, help desk for readers as well. We get really a lot of incoming emails telling us that, I'm not able to read the Wikipedia anymore. Why did you choose such small letters? And we have some of them. And mostly it is just Control-0, because people don't know how their browsers work. It's so we are a team of people helping everyone in every case. It's quite nice.
In the case of people who need help, do you have the feeling that the OTRS is like the first point of contact or their last hope?
No, I have, but it's not. I have no proof for this, but I think it's the first attempt.
So sometimes yes, sometimes no. Like this is in case of Polish Wikipedia. There are sometimes problems. People are trying to do something in Wikipedia. Then they ask someone, for example, admin to blog demo or whatever, and then go to OTRS for help. So it also happens. It happens in this, but sometimes happens that they just don't know what to do and they found email and send it and it's just.
Maybe it depends on how easy it is to find the email address, and that's different from project to project.
Can I ask something about it? For instance, on the Italian Wikipedia, the OTRS address used to be very well hidden in the pages because
please don't email me.
Yeah, and there was even a huge warning. Be aware that if you write us, we may reply you only after 2 or 3 months. So, and that warning survived for years. Then there was an OTRS member who said, no, now we are so efficient, so I want to remove it. Please write that because we reply immediately. Well, but anyway, we have recently improved, not me, but someone has improved the contact pages, and basically we are redirecting to OTRS only people who, for some reason, want to use email because they don't like other means of communication.
Sure.
But obviously but we tell them that it's faster and actually easier to find information on the help pages and so on if they want.
I think that's quite usual to refer.
So it's no longer true, but we have done.
Okay, but I think it's quite usual to refer to the internal Wikipedia help pages and where we have the whole thing of information. We do it in the German volunteer team as well, that we tell people where they find the information they are looking for.
As we were talking about at breakfast, there's a category of things that we are doing that is not present here.
And
the
that is
miscellaneous letters or calls that doesn't have to do with anything about Wikipedia. They not crank calls or prank calls, but people that haven't found what they're actually looking for. I've dealt with people that thought that they could order airline tickets through Wikipedia, and I think that's not unusual, and we should have that as well.
Yeah,
but even press releases and I think requests for hiring. Can you hire me? I am a very good translator.
We also get refund requests. That people made a donation to an organization, and they look at the website of that organization, Wikipedia, and they say, well, we donated to the Red Cross by accident. Can you please refund us? We get that quite often, actually, in that Wikipedia.
Oh.
Same English.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know anything like that in the German.
We see Wikipedia pages as a contact us button on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it must have
Yes. Do you
That's
have
cool.
the address of that random, very famous people?
Yeah.
I want an autograph.
Victor.
That's understandable. They ask Wikipedia, but why to ask for refunds?
They really think we are the organization. They think if they click contact, they contact the topic of the page.
Yeah.
I remember an email last year, a few years ago. Dear Mr. Wales, I have lost my luggage at your airline. I'm very, very sad that you please care for my luggage. Dear Mr. Wales, don't know why.
Victor.
Well, my story is that like the email address of Info is well hidden as well. I mean, like in the contact page, there is actually a contact page. There's a small link on the main page to the contact page, and the contact page is like straight in the bottom of the page. interest, and it's like after even the page Wikimedia Russia. That's why most of traffic on info is traffic forwarded from Wikimedia Russia queue. And like my favorite email is hello dear Wikipedia, when are you going to open McDonald's in that car?
Okay.
I just want to add the thing that I told you about at breakfast, because I had a call. I had my phone number as a press contact on Swedish Wikipedia, and I got a call from a person that had been offered to go to London and get his substantial money reward that he was promised by some sort of scam artist, and we should deal with the miscellaneous too, or we should add this here because it takes up a bit of our time. I think we can agree on that.
It is missing here.
Yeah.
You're right. So please turn the page. How are they organized? This maybe gives us an image about how we are organized. It is much less than the other page what we have to do. And I think one of our benefits is that we haven't a real strong structure for every language, for every project, and we have some kind of self-determination in how we are doing things and what is the best way to manage our own work. But what we have are language-specific cues, and that's so obvious, because I have no idea how to answer, I have not even an idea how to read a Russian email or how to answer it. And Google doesn't help in any case. So, and I have no idea about regulations and rules and ideas of the Russian Wikipedia as well. So I'm just not able to do some help for other projects. And I think this is really important. We need to respect every project's own rules and their own written and unwritten things. And we have to remember this with everything we are handling which has some influence on other languages' cues. What we also use are mailing lists. And this is something I have not really an idea of. In the German volunteer team, we are using our mailing list. It's an old mailing list for German volunteers, very, very regularly. So it is used to announce new agents. We use it to ask some others for some hints for answering a ticket. We are just exchanging ideas and something like that.
Is this an open mailing list or an invitation only?
It's closed for agents. So only agents are welcome to this list. So we have some kind of a safe room where we can discuss things we won't discuss in the public as well. So, and there is an English list, mailing list, which has less communication on it, but there's some. And I don't have an idea if there's any language-specific mailing list for other languages as well. Is there something in the Netherlands, for the bike? Do you have a Dutch mailing list?
We use it mainly to discuss new members, so we don't announce them, because for us that's really a group process. That's very important because we at some point one of the administrators said, well, let's just appoint them and I make the decision, and the whole team went berserk. So I think that's the main thing we use it for, and if there is like a really problematic ticket, we don't, it's not my track.
Okay.
There's also the permissions L mailing list.
Nearly dead.
Well, there was a ticket, there was an email today.
Okay.
Okay. Remember says enough.
But there are some mailing lists, and I think we have different experiences with it and with the benefits of this kind of communication within the team.
It goes also with what the communities use.
Yes, yes. And we have an OTRS wiki. The wiki once was meant to be something more detailed, more communicative than the email lists. And that doesn't work. No. The wiki doesn't work for any kind of interaction, for any kind of communication or discussion about specific topics. But what...
Especially for
new agents. Yes. But that's a German-specific thing. So we are discussing if someone can join the team openly on this wiki. But I think this is really German-specific. But what the wiki is used for, and the reason why we should use it more often, is that we have our templates, our answering templates on this wiki, and everyone is able to make changes on them. And the administrators have tools to put them on into the system very, very quickly. So this is really a huge benefit, and we should really use it more often. It is so important that we just rework our templates from time to time, just see, are they really up to date? Have there been any changes in the projects which need some rewording or some new information in these templates? And I think this is something many agents really doesn't realize, that they can change the templates by themselves. And the administrators are really, of course they are reading them before they publish them, but it's just like, okay, this is nothing wrong, so just put it onto the entire system. So, okay, that are the communication platforms we use to interact with our work. And how are we working? I think each of us is working in a very specific and individual way when answering tickets. I know some who only answer tickets which can be answered with a template. And it's okay. It's pretty fine to do that if it is the best way to do it. And I know agents which just pick out those tickets where there is really need to explain something, to help people in a very individual way, to get them feeling what is the really question behind all those crazy texts and sentences. So what they do in the end is definitely they do best work for the project. And doing work for the project means that they do it regarding and remembering our goal, the 5 pillars, which are 4 in some projects, but this project-specific things are really important, and this is something they have to remember every time. And they use those templates, but what is really different from doing Wikipedia work as an editor is that they mostly work for their own. It's single-handed work. They decide how to answer a ticket. There is no one looking behind them. There's no one reviewing this kind of thing. Some people are doing it, but then the answering email is already sent. So only in sometimes we have discussions on the German mailing list, for example, if we have very, very specific and when we have tickets which need more than a single opinion to answer, difficult, complicated tickets, Then we try to discuss them before someone answering it. But regularly, it is only you who decide when an answer gets to the customer and what is the content of it. So you do it in your Wikipedia work as well, but there it is public. Someone else can come and can fix some mistakes or do some rewording just to make it sound better or something like that. We don't have these possibilities when answering OTRS tickets. Yeah.
I have a question about templates. How are they written? Are they written on the wiki?
Yes,
they are stored on the wiki.
And they are updated if you just change the template, which is placed at the top of the page, and the authors haven't seen it in a special category.
But it needs a manual update of the OTRS installation by an admin. Okay.
Yeah, but it's very simple and it's done regularly because we as OTRS admins, I do it each time I visit the wiki. I just look if there are some changed responses, response templates, and then I just update them. That's how it looks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the wiki that you can recognize from the horrible background.
This yellow?
Yeah, oh, it's
Okay.
high security.
Okay.
But it's pretty amazing in my experience because when I try to find something, I'm unable. So I've given up on that like many times.
So you find the templates by language. You find the Italian templates, for example, you can read through them and change them, and you just have to change a marker.
But an admin needs to update the installation.
Yes.
But do all languages have an admin? And what if the admin doesn't know the language? How does it
You
work?
just trust people?
Yes. Yes, that's it. You just trust people.
And
if
update the template of those there is not been any discussion or whatever.
Yes, we are trusted people. Everyone working on the OTRS is a trusted people because is a trusted person because we are a small group. It's not that we know each other, but everyone has gone through a process of an acknowledgement. So it's okay. If you change your template, I will update it. And Raymond as well.
I'm not a member of this group.
Yes.
How do you do that?
You can make an application on a meta site.
Yeah.
In nearly every project you find something like Wikipedia OTRS. And there you'll find a link to this meta page. There you can see who is administrator. You can leave a short application, and in every language except of German, the OTRS admin will decide if you can join us or not.
I mean, people can just oppose you.
Not really, because that's not a
and if there is no reaction or there is some even small support for you, if you are from small projects, so then they just grant you this status. And the only requirement is that you have to send your ID.
We don't have to.
No, not really.
Because there was the discussion of the safety of the data on the American servers. And some people,
it was like that, but
if you have a local chapter, then you may send the ID to them if you want to.
But it's on ice now.
Yeah.
There's
It's unclear. We don't know.
yeah. And I don't think that we will discuss it today.
Go to the page
Do you have an idea? Okay.
If you know that critical about the safety of the document, then just send them an email and they are going to delete it. That's what Philip did when I sent my ID.
Okay, let's come back to the presentation. Yes. What I find really interesting is what is needed to support your work, to support you in your work on this OTRS things. And these are only some ideas. Some of them are very obviously, some of them might not. And I would like to have some feedback from you. I think one of the things we have made experiences with in the German team are subsidiary trainings, just trying to give more information to the people from lawyers, from communication trainers, for example, from experts which have knowledge we don't have, but we need to have when we try to answer difficult and specific incoming emails. What we really need to do is cultivate our communication skills, because most of us are used to write articles in the Wikipedia, but it is so different from answering a very individual question which is coming to you via email. There are so many ways to do it wrong, and therefore I think there is a need to do something for communication skills. And it's not only answering questions, it's also when answering complaints and handle very emotional emails, very emotional people, and I think that is something we should spend some time on. Legal advices, for example, are really necessary if we try to answer to lawyers and to people who are just thinking about suing us or suing the foundation or whoever. Updated software.
It wasn't the idea that every ticket which go tracks the sue should be forwarded to some queue, like legal?
Yes, but it differs this time from language to language. The German team has the chapter in the background, and the chapter provides us with lawyers which are working with the chapter. So German incoming mails usually were handled from the German teams without foundation legal. But according to those, it is of course we are in contact with them when it is needed. And it has been a lot of difficulties that we are struggling with, because there were times we just ping-ponged these emails. Someone was answering, or he sent an email to the foundation. It was in German. So the foundation think, okay, it's in German. Push it to the info.de queue. And the German agents see, oh, he wants to sue the foundation. Push it to the foundation queue. And someone else, and that is so tricky within this OTRS software. If you don't look at the history, you just don't see that it has been in info.de before. So another...
Well, you actually have a field too in your email, so you can always see the email address it was sent to.
Yeah. Oh, you know that, but and everyone else knows it, but it is not that transparent. If you just see as another foundation person, oh, another German email. So it was very difficult.
I think what a general piece of advice is, if as soon as you forward something to the foundation, always add the translation in a note. Yeah. Because even though it might be one sentence, you think, well, everybody can understand that part of German. They will automatically, it's like a reflex. And it's really good to just...
Yeah. And leave a note.
Leave a note. Always leave a note explaining what it is about.
Yes. And why you are transferring it to another queue. More collaboration, more interaction. I think what we are starting here is just telling stories, talking about our experiences, and we have cultivated it in the German group, I think, pretty well. But we need to do it more often, more regularly. We need to make it usual to ask for advice. We need some more ideas of where are the problems in answering emails. And we only get an idea of this if we talk to each other. And if we do the work in the way we want to do it, every single person on its own, but share our experiences with others.
Are you going to talk about the OTRS workshop that you had in Germany?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have it, so...
Oh, you should. You should just try it.
Okay.
We should have a workshop to give workshops on that.
You can call me.
I think we should really have a network of people giving those workshops in different countries.
That's a good idea.
But well, in Paris we have just like 7 people in OTRS team.
But it's enough for a workshop.
That's great, you can get them all in one room.
No, I did
yes.
I did one time workshop just to hire more people. As I 2-3 years ago, we explained basically what the OTRS, and then some people who are even here join after this. But then we have never met. We just met from time to time during conferences and that's it.
Mm-hmm. So it was a success to do it this way. You get more new agents.
Yes.
Okay.
If we do collect people in one place, we should reward them in some way because they're doing an amazing job.
Indeed.
Also, if we not collect them in one place.
No,
maybe we can send them a Christmas card.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, there is some reward because I think the reward is that the OTRS members are usually, I mean, to be an OTRS member is some sort of, it's a trusted position, and usually OTRS members say that they are on OTRS on their user page, and they can show that they are trusted and that they are doing very hard work. So sometimes I see that
No, I think that's the other way around, because if I didn't have to, I wouldn't put the OTRS standard on my user page. We do this because we want to show people if you have an issue with OTRS, just write.
I don't think it's mandatory.
In Commons, I didn't have the notice, and I didn't have a user page, and they asked me to insert it.
It differs from project to project.
Wikimedia, I don't have the notice.
Okay.
But just to give them a physical representation of how we feel about them would be a good thing, I feel.
Yes, definitely.
It's definitely needed. Much more than we
T-shirt
did
or
it.
something.
The barn star.
Yes,
Yeah.
and in Germany,
Physical barn star. Yeah.
in Germany, the chapter gave a bag. I think it was a bag 2 years ago to each OTS agent with a thank you note, and it was a blue bag with the Wikipedia logo on it or something. It is a simple present. It is not that difficult to do something like that. Maybe you need some support from your chapter or whoever, but try to think about it. It may help to bind people to this kind of work, to let them work another year in this group. So this is what I really think. All of you are invisible heroes. You are invisible because beside those bubble things where you say, I am an OTRS agent, you do your work without having any reaction. You just do your work, and if you do it the best way, nobody sees the results, because you're just interacting with people who are not inside the Wikipedia, usually. So you're doing your job, and nobody has an idea what this job really is, and nobody sees any results. And even if you try to do some work on articles, for example, when you have issues with biographies, you will do it the best way when you do it silently, when you just follow the rules of the projects. So there is no evidence that you are doing a good job. So you are invisible. And you are heroes because you are protecting projects, you are preventing damages. It is about people trying to sue. It is about very emotional people. It is about companies trying to make articles the way they like it to be read. So everything you do is to help the project. So, Raimund? Thank you. You're great. Your work is great. And please, 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 if you ever need anything to improve your work, to support you, please raise your hand and ask questions. Ask the foundation, ask the chapters, or ask the OTRS admins. OTRS admins are people who are very well connected. So we know lots of persons, we know people who can help us. So if there's any need, please tell it. Okay. I would like to have a small break. If there aren't any questions now, can we have a 5-minute break?
No, just a very short question. Who in the foundation?
Very short.
Who in the foundation is the relevant person for this kind of to approach if you have a question to the foundation?
There are 2 persons you can get in contact with. The first is Philip Baudet, and it's Christine Möllenberg, who is very helpful in all these things and who has provided me with this first, we will talk about these later, with this first results of a survey. So, okay, 5 minutes, something to drink. There's only 30 minutes left, so we have to just try to do this kind of discussion further. I liked it very much. So, one thing I want to show you is that Christine Möllenberg did a quick survey with the OTRS agents. It was an idea to get an impression how they feel when working, if they are comfortable with everything they have, or if they need something to do their job in a better way. So I just picked out some of the pre-results. The results of the survey will be published as soon as possible. So one of the questions was about things that helps us in working and being affected. Software. We are working with this really, really good OTRS software. This software is really strange. And it has nothing to do, you know, from your desktop software. And it's independent from on which operating system you are working on. It is not understandable how it's really designed. It's not self-explaining. So software is an issue. And we see it here that most of the agents think, okay, it's okay. And lots of the agents think, no, not really. So just show us the next slide. We all know this. We all know this software issue, but we have no idea yet how to press the foundation to update this soon. Thinking about the current system, rate the following not very effective to very effective procedures. This is a very difficult question because where is the place the procedure begins and what is really the thing the procedure is built upon. So here it is not really clear how it is. Most of the agents said, okay, it's okay and it works in a way. Recruitment is something we heard from the Polish group where they try to recruit new agents in a workshop, and recruitment is a strong issue. About half of the people who are joining this survey said that we need some improvement in recruitment. So this is something we have to discuss as well. And training. And this is really, really interesting. This is the only slide where you have this huge red part, and it says that training is not effective. So, of course it is not, because where do we have training? I'm not really sure if this is only showing us that there's a need to do that. Okay?
You have to train besides the workshop.
Yeah. About 60% of the agents in this survey said that there are not enough people in the OTRS team doing this huge amount of work. And I find this quite interesting. About 70% said they would like to have some kind of reviewing their activities. This is impressive, because what I said before was that it is a single-handed work. You're doing it for your own. And we here see that it's okay doing it by everyone's own, but they have the feeling they would do their work better if someone just reviewing it.
Did they have some idea who would give them their feedback?
No. No. And that was not covered with the questions.
In the past few years, I think I've got feedback twice on tickets where someone's either looked up for some reason and sent me an email saying, this is interesting, or thank you for that. Or in one case, about 3 months ago, someone was looking through all the tickets answered on a particular day on the English list and just sending out some emails after that. I can't remember who it was, but there was, someone had decided we need feedback, I'm going to send some. But I've never seen it before.
Is this true everywhere? I mean, I'm not on OTRS, but I know that on the Italian queue, there are some people who check what the other do, and they quite often even quarrel about how they should reply. Or they don't quarrel and they complain it to someone else. Oh, he did such a horrible thing, but I'm not going to tell him.
We have on the Dutch Wikipedia, we also have something similar. We have a few users who answer very much in their own way, which not everybody is as pleased about. But they handle huge amount of
tickets.
Huge numbers of tickets.
Yes.
And it's both a good and a bad thing, because it also means it gets done, and it's not the 3 months delay that you mentioned before, which we also had for a while. But it also means that a lot of people get a bad response, get an impolite response, a response from someone who's just not really capable of doing really nicely.
Yeah, we had exactly the same comment.
And we gave them some feedback, but it's not always received as nicely. So it would be good to have a process in place to do that, because then it's not experienced as negative because you're singled out, but because it's part of something that happens always.
Yes. Maybe that's one of the keys to get into such things, of reviewing without offending.
I like the bug feature of OTRS. You get emails, notification emails about all tickets in the queue. If you have it is it your own queue, you get emails from all.
But it's kind of spam then. You get
But I like it. I want to explain. I reach not all, but every depends on the time. But if I see that a customer is not satisfied in any kind, I try to look into it, and if our agent was good or not, what else happened? Then I have the chance to talk with him personally, email, maybe a telephone, and that helps. If I see too much hassle about it, I send from time to time an email to our mailing list and say, hey, people, be kind. They are customers and we are not in Wikipedia.
Yes. And that really helps if it comes from a very trusted person like Wiegand.
Well, maybe if it would be possible, then we could add a link for the recipients of our emails in the footer to provide feedback on the answer they got.
That is really interesting. We talked about this at our breakfast. About every huge company, if you bring your car into the garage because something is broken, a few days later you get a telephone call and someone answers you if you felt welcomed, if everything is happening in the way you liked it.
Actually, I usually hate those phone calls. I prefer email. Why are you calling me? I send you to write me, please. I don't know if it's a common experience. But I hate such phone calls.
Yeah, but until now we don't have any feedback from our customers.
There is the possibility to have it on OTRS.
But if we do it very practically, would we have the capacity to process that feedback?
But we should consider about the idea in itself, without going too much into detail now. But
I think like if we don't have any capacity to process that kind of stuff, why then we don't even have to consider asking for it, because right now we have enough problems to solve.
I would see it in the other way. If we want to do something and we don't have the capacities for doing it, we need to just build these capacities. That's my personal view on these kind of things.
I might expect that you might have that there might be a lot of negative feedback from all those people who should say no. I mean, for example, people who ask to upload pictures which have unclear copyright status, then people to whom we say no, you can't have your own biography in Wikipedia, then the people who are not happy with article with Wikipedia but they want to force POV, etc., right? So there is quite often that we try to do this in polite way, but anyway the effect is negative for these people, and it should be negative, right? So, and then you get negative feedback from, I'm not happy with this treatment because I think the OTRS volunteer was wrong, right? And then we probably should create another OTRS queue for these feedbacks, so you should work again with the same stuff which was already answered, right? So I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I think there are ways to formulate a question so as to remove the question of whether they liked the answer from, did you like the treatment you received?
Yes. Do you think it was professional or something like this?
Yes. Or did you feel that it was courteous?
No, but and the people would simply answer no, no matter if they were treated nicely or not nicely, just because the final effect for them is negative, right? So
Yeah.
if you imagine you want to have, for some reasons, your biography in Wikipedia, this is quite common in Polish Wikipedia at least, and you properly write this article about yourself, it's deleted, and then you go to OTRS and ask why, yes? So then we politely answer that according to our notability rules in Wikipedia, you are not notable. Sorry, but no. Yes? And then he is angry usually, and or she, and is trying, oh no, I think I am notable because of this. And then
But
no,
we should...
it's not enough. And you are trying to be polite in that case, but finally it ends up usually that this person, you know, it's not nice to know that you are not notable, right?
We should realize that we really don't know what these answers could be, because we have never tested it. You have a question or some input?
Again, when I looked at the traffic on the English list a couple of years back, oh, sorry. When I looked at the traffic on the English OTRS list a couple of years back, we didn't actually ask people what did you think of the responses, but we said if they replied to say thank you or they seemed happy in their reply, they obviously liked it.
Yes.
And if they replied and were upset, they obviously didn't. And a lot more replied happy than replied upset. So we're obviously doing something right there. But if they got a template, if they got a handwritten answer, not a template, they were much more likely to be happy. I don't know if that's because people don't like templates, or because a handwritten answer is more likely to be exactly what they want.
Yes, maybe.
So,
maybe it is wording of the template as well.
They feel.
Yes. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Because of the time, I would like to wrap up something. Somebody asked about the workshops we are doing in Germany for the German volunteer team. We are doing them usually once a year. Often? Okay, but I would like to have someone else telling you about these workshops. We have 3 OTRS agents from Germany here. Someone willing to tell something about the workshops?
Yeah, we'd like to hear about this. Really.
Okay, so, okay, if you're not willing, you can choose. Take the mic.
Just stand up. So they can see you on camera.
Well, I've been at, I think, 3 workshops so far. The first one was about mail headers and more technical stuff. It was very interesting to learn, so that we can check whether it's the same person who asked us, and we had a workshop about BLP, supported by lawyers who were invited by Wikimedia Germany. That also was very interesting to learn about special issues. For example, when children are pictures, are we allowed to upload them or something like that? Things I haven't known before. And my first workshop was more a workshop where new members were invited and learned how to use that very complex OTRS software. And we have mind maps where we could tell what should be improved, which problems we have and such. All 3 workshops which I attended were very useful in my opinion, and all participants were very interested in participating, and we worked very well, I think.
Was it fun?
Yes.
Okay, so
I think it's very important to have some fun in these meetings.
To my knowledge, the German team is the only one who's doing workshops. Right?
Yeah,
So
we have
We
some.
have to the most big building place.
okay, and maybe if you address translated for right now. But have you seen any difference between the responses of the German team in the survey and the responses of the other teams? I mean, can you see the impact of the workshop in the satisfaction of the OTRS volunteers?
I'm not that quite sure if we can pick it up from the results of this survey. So we have asked about what cues are you working on at the end of the survey, but there was no question who are you or in what specific language you are working. So I think that was a question which came into my mind as well, but I have no clue to do it from these results.
Okay, so if you'd please tell us how many German OTRS agents are there, and I've heard that you've got a special procedure to accept a new agent, right?
Yes, we are German. We are German and we have special everything. So, okay, I think in the German team actually are about 50 agents which are active. If people... Of course. 50. And we have a procedure to, I won't like to say to hire them, but to get them into the team. In former days, this was made on the mailing list. Someone made up an approach and said, oh, I know someone, he could help us. What do you think of this? And what happens is no response. It's a mailing list. Nobody who was not really worrying about didn't have the feeling that a reply is needed. So many of those requests just ended up unanswered. And that is not a really good idea to bring in new people or to make decisions about it.
Yeah, some of us were also recruited by oral propaganda.
Yes.
On meetups. Do you want? What do you think?
You want.
You have to want. So that is, there are several meetups where Wikipedians meet regularly or not so regularly. So there are always some places where you just can ask, are you willing to help us? So, but we find out that this mailing list conversation isn't really effective. So we tried to set up a kind of procedure. And nowadays we are asking people who are willing to help us for a short application where they tell us what they would like to do and why they would like to help the team. And we put this application on the wiki and we discuss it on the wiki. It's not a vote. It is like, oh, I know his work and he has a good reputation and I know from Wikipedia how he is in discussions, if he's helpful or if he's offending. And after 2 weeks, the OTRS admins, which are Raimund and me, decided what to do with this application. So we have a procedure which helps the interesting person to get an answer, and it helps us to get, I think, a funded decision.
Yeah, that's made in the OTRS wiki.
Yes.
But you advertise it in German signposts or something like that? Yes.
Yes. From time to time, I make a kind of, please help us, we need new faces, we need new ideas, we need really new people on the German signpost, and that usually let some people make such applications.
And 3 to 5 per application.
Yes.
How many people do you turn down?
Do you have an idea?
What was the question? Sorry.
How many of those applicants do you turn down?
There are some. There are some, but usually everything is fine because people who are trying to help others have a background which is not offending. So in most cases there is not even a discussion. Sometimes it is when people are not that experienced users in the project. Then there come some concerns if they really know every rule, if they really can give the right answers, and then we sometimes have to manage it and make a decision.
We have a similar process in the Netherlands where we discuss, well, we do it on the Netherlands really, and I think we turn out like 20%, 30% of the applications because we do not consider these people to be able to write polite responses.
Okay.
Because that is the main, we don't doubt that they know everything and they handle in good faith, but
and that's
some
fair.
people are just not able to grasp like what is really the problem in an email and write polite response.
As far as the French team is concerned, usually when someone is interested in joining the OTRS team, they look for me because they know that I'm going to be able to speak French and,
yes.
and to give them an idea of whether it's a good idea for them or not to apply. And I mean, usually there are people to learn others, so it's not a problem. And usually there's not even a discussion because I mean, you're gonna know that bringing this person in will be consensual. You know?
Okay.
And I don't think we've had issues with recruiting someone.
Do you think you have enough agents for the French queue?
That's actually a really good question because when you said that the German team has like 50 agents, I was surprised because the French team probably has about 20-25 people with access. And among those, there are maybe a dozen people who answer a ticket at least once a month.
Yes.
And then you have maybe half a dozen people who log in every day or every week. And then you have like 2 or 3 people who do most of the work. And some of these people who do most of the work may not be the most polite or the
yes.
helpful people.
We have the same thing before.
On Russian queues, it's usually on info it's 1 to 3 people active, and on Wikimedia it's 0 to 1.
And is 0 to 1 enough?
Oh, there are 200 tickets, and some of them are 10 months old.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
I want to add a thing to the recruitment process for Germans. We have a second major requirement besides being of legal age, 18 years old. The users who want to request OTRS access have to publish their real name to the German OTRS agents, and there are just few exceptions I know.
Yeah. To be fair, yes, they have to say at least on the real name, but we do not put. Yes. So if the foundation will go further in some time and get the identification copies, okay.
Yes.
The foundation policy says that each OTRS agent should be identified to the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's not done.
Okay, but it is on ice, and there will be something sometimes.
That's not today.
Yes.
But can we just get some recommendations ironed out here? Like, what are the things we really agree on so that we can communicate also?
Yes,
with
we
the
only
forum?
have 4 minutes left, so it's a good time for a short wrap-up. What, will you start?
Well, I would really, really love the train the trainers. Really, that the German chapter and the foundation get together and make sure that there will be an international workshop or workshops. Okay?
Yes.
I would really love that, and that combine that with some introduction material, like a video, I don't care, something to give people in 2 minutes an understanding how OTRS works within Wikimedia.
Yes.
Because right now it's the maze.
Oh, well, indeed, the video will be for external use, right?
Does anyone write this? Anyone write the word?
I wrote on computer. No, we need a Wikimedia 2012 workshop.
Okay.
The second thing, I think we should ask the foundation not only to update OTRS, but also to implement those features that OTRS has to give the user an update on the status of the ticket. If someone looked at it, if it has been moved somewhere, and
Yes, I know
give
what you
some
mean.
feedback.
Okay.
Because I looked at it for my university, and I saw that OTRS has some very amazing features that we,
Yes.
as far as I know, we are not using at all.
The latest version has some really huge improvements on the whole software. It is OTRS, it is still OTRS.
Some features are just broken. For example, the feature when we can put a pending status on tickets, it's reset immediately for some reason.
But it is the technical side, and I think we need this support from the software, but we need much more supporting ourselves and new agents and our customers with doing the best out of the software, but using our brains and our communication and talking to each other. And therefore I think this thing with the workshop, I like it.
And the feedback process we discussed before, is that something we all agree on? That would be a good thing. That we find that we get some kind of a feedback process.
Yeah. And to send some reward to the OTRS, and even those physical parts.
Yes. Yes.
Something like $5.
It's only shipping because to the admins that we would need statistics.
Oh, I'm working on it.
There were some a year ago.
Yes, I'm working on it. We have a discussion on the admin mailing list, and I'm regularly repeating it because I want statistics and reports regularly about delay time, about number of agents, about the time which is needed to close a ticket from the beginning on, and about ideas if we can classify tickets. So there are lots of things to do.
I had a short comment about the OTRS upgrade. So last year there were discussions between some people in the tech team and some people in the community department and representatives from the OTRS company. And so basically the company tried to sell the foundation the service of upgrading OTRS because they had made it so complicated to upgrade that it's really difficult for people who are not the OTRS company to do it.
You won't tell me that money is a problem.
No, but I'm going to say no.
Please don't.
My point is that if it was easy to upgrade the software, it would have been done already.
Okay.
And it's difficult, and so it's not a priority of the tech team.
Okay.
And I guess what we need is a champion of the OTRS team, like Christine or Philippe, I don't know, can do some lobbying so that engineering resources are allocated to that.
Thank you. Thank you. Will be helpful.
Back in March, I asked Casey Brown whether you need some help in updating OTRS or logging them. He said you don't. And now I find it very weird to hear that here.
Yeah, but you just heard that this whole thing is much more complicated than just offering some help on technical stuff. So
So I've set recommendations here.
Oh.
Anything else? And the ones that we already talked about.
Wait, we're talking about 4, right?
So we like 7.
Read it aloud.
Okay, International Workshop by Wikimedia Deutschland, Wikimedia Foundation for giving workshops on OTRS. Write introduction material. Explore the existing OTRS features that we are not using currently.
yes,
Set up the feedback process.
yes,
Send physical rewards to all OTRS agents worldwide.
yes, yes, yes.
Also be seen as an identification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some more statistics. And make OTRS improvement a priority of the tech team.
So, you know,
Anything missing?
well, you know, assignments, all these action items.
No, I heard that Philippe was very willing to take on any comments, and he already sent to me an alternative about please send me any results.
Can you put them on Wikimania Wiki or something like that?
Anywhere,
Sure.
anyone.
So time is over. Is any question left from any one of you? If not, this was a very, very wonderful discussion with you, and I hope we have this kind of discussion more often.
At Wikimania.
At wherever. Maybe we just build up some kind of events like this. Thank you. Oh,